All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Talladega. Armando Melgoza and Ed Harris on the front row. Pops Cramner and Joe Gauthier on the second. Andy Patton and John Tobias have the third row. John Rayner and Tim Chapman on the fourth. Roger Craig and Bob Curtis rounding out the top 10. Mayor Bixler starts in 11 next to Mr. Maurer in 12th. Terry Landis, Cale Bixler, and Stu Wright round out the 15-car field at Talladega here tonight. All the drivers working on getting lined up on the grid. Here they come, rolling off. And folks, if you missed the Jones BS Racing season finale last night, you missed quite a show, but you can find it on our YouTube channel in 4K. .66 miles around this big old track in Alabama. It'll take them a lap and a half to get these trucks up to full speed in the draft. Remember, because of the nature of the league, they do have damage turned off for this race. Which is a good thing because we have seen trucks go flying here, so... At least with the damage turned off, everybody should be able to make it to the end if they want. All right, here they come. Pace car is in. They do have to get to the restart zone before the green flag drops. Pace car goes in there, but it is a long, slow drive. Armando is getting a bit of a run. Green flag is in the air. Looks like Armando might have got on the gas a little too early. Ed Harris quickly takes the lead, followed by Joe Gauthier up top. But Joe has a run and has the nose ahead as they come out of two with help from John Tobias. Down the back straightaway, into turn 3 they go. The outside line at the moment leading. They're coming down. Oh! A little bit of bumping back behind. No wreck yet. Gotta hand it to these guys. They managed to save that. Mayor Bixler had one heck of a save right there. Joe Gauthier now has the lead with John Tobias pushing. Pops Cramner up top alone at the moment. Looks like the outside line is starting to form up and come forward. Well, as soon as I said that, now we've got 3 trucks up top. And what a move by Roger Gregg, shooting up into the gap. Great job by Andy Patton as well, not getting into his bumper. And now Pops Cramner has some help up top as Tim Chapman comes up to the outside line. Bottom line continues to lead. But Tim Chapman starting to pull that outside line forward. Looks like Mr. Maurer just set the fastest lap so far. Likely to see it get a little bit faster, but he is closing in up top. And that outside line is forming up quickly. That outside line will continue to get faster throughout the race. The more they get up there, the more they put some rubber down, the faster it's going to get. A lot of moving around back behind. Guys trying to jockey their way back toward the front. Terry Landis already up into 9th place in the UU truck. Remember, Landis did win the dirt race a few moments ago at Volusia. He could be the first driver to ever pull off the Tuesday night sweep. And Tim Chapman has the nose ahead out of turn 4. Chapman will lead him down, and Tim Chapman leads for the first time tonight. And they both shot to the bottom. Great job by all the drivers behind. Roger Craig got left, hung out to dry. Pops comes back up to give him a hand. Now Pops leading that outside line. And oh, we've got some bumping up front into the turn. Tim Chapman holds on to it. What a save. Great save by Chapman. He keeps his foot in it. Falls back in the pack, but now Pops Cramner has the lead. Roger Craig now up into 2nd place. The outside line led by John DeBias at the moment. Terry Landis has also jumped into the high line, trying to make his way back toward the front. Bob Curtis up 6 spots into 4th. Roger Craig up 6 into 3rd. Roger Craig has made some gutsy moves, and that has put him 2nd in line. Oh! We've got a wreck out of 4. The caution is out. And trucks are flying everywhere. I think John DeBias may be the only driver that survived that incident. Our first caution of the night, lap 6. Let's take a look. All right, we saw, oh, holy cow. Well, they won't need to mow tomorrow. All right, looking down from the blimp. As John Rayner on the outside in the iRacing car truck, the yellow, red, and blue one. He had gotten shuffled way outside, tried to come down, but the gap nope, that is Rayner. And just a lot of bumping, and there was enough to bump Roger Craig and start a chain reaction that took the leader as well. Pops Cramner also got half the truck up in the air before pinning it up into the wall. Ouch. Joe Gauthier, Ed Harris, Pops Cramner, John Rayner, Bob Curtis, and Mr. Maurer all went to pit road. Everybody else stays out. And the lights are out on the pace cars. Everybody stacks back up for the restart. Bob Curtis catching up, as is Mr. Maurer. They'll be stacked up as they come through 3 and 4. Pace car is in the long, slow drive back to the restart zone. And here we go, green flag back in the air. Tobias in the lead, and Roger Craig slips down behind him immediately. Andy Patton all alone up top for the moment. But help is on the way back behind. Mayor Bixler getting connected. 3 trucks off the back a little bit. Looks like Armando's pulling back up. Rayner also pulls back up into the field. Maurer pulls up. Bob Curtis and Terry Landis is out of the race. There will not be a sweep here tonight. And already 3 wide. Lap 10, only a fourth of the way through. They're already 3 wide. What could possibly go wrong here? As you can tell, these trucks don't have a lot of grip. Everybody trying to settle back into 2 wide as they go through. Looks like Bixler losing some ground in the middle. Bob Curtis stuck up alone, up top for the moment. Can't find a slot to drop back into. John Tobias continues to lead. Tim Chapman leads the outside line. Everybody settles back into 2 wide except Armando, who shoots it up the middle. That is a gutsy move. Can he make up some ground here? Oh, wrecking back behind. Caution. Bob Curtis and Pops Cramner involved. Let's see what happened. There's Bob Curtis up on the high side. Armando tried to cut through the middle. And when Bob came down, just comes across his nose. Pops, meanwhile, gets a little bump that puts him into the wall. But he does get it going again. Apparently, Terry Landis had lost connection. He has rejoined and is back out on track. He's going to be a couple of laps down. I'd imagine they'll get him waved at least one, if not both of them, back. Tim Chapman has the lead, but it looks like everybody is coming in. Almost everybody. Cale Bixler stays out. Mayor Bixler stays out. Bob Curtis and Pops Cramner also staying out. Terry Landis does get one of his laps waved back. So if they wave him back to the lead lap, Landis still has a shot at pulling off the sweep here tonight. Lights are already off on the pace car as they begin to stack back up for the restart. Now, folks, it feels like it's a good time to get a little bit loud here at Talladega. So when the green flag drops, I'm going to shut up, let you guys crank up the volume and listen to the horsepower of 15 of these trucks going at it here at Talladega. Pace car is in. And here they come toward the restart zone. And the green flag flies. They are back underway and crank it up, y'all. That sure does sound good. Cale Bixler in the lead. Pops Cramner in second at the moment. That outside line really starting to form up. But we've got some three-wide action back in the middle of the pack. Looks like they're going to sort it out. Back to two wide. Mr. Maurer stuck in the middle at the moment. But now they're back to two wide. And Terry Landis trying to make up some ground. He looked to the middle but didn't make the move. Cale continues to lead. Pops on the bumper. Pops moves up to the high side. Bob Curtis now in the back bumper. It's getting a little squirrely back behind. As it looked like they were briefly four wide on the backstretch. They're wrecking into three. Caution is out. And trucks are in the wall. Let's take a look and see what happened to this one. Looking down from the blimp, Pops Cramner had just made a move into the lead, but oh, he gets a little bit of a tap from below. Both trucks come back up, and there you see the smoke and disaster. Armando Melgoza's bad luck may be continuing here. Armando back behind. There you see the initial wreck, and they come right up into him. He goes for quite a ride. Andy Patton now has the lead, having made it through the chaos. Mr. Maurer did tow to pit road. The rest of them are headed in. Andy Patton, Joan Tobias, and Ed Harris stay out. Bob Curtis leads the rest of the field in. Tim Chapman stays out. Armando Melgoza stays out, as does Stu Wright. And Terry Landis did get the wave. He is back on the lead lap. And Mr. Maurer appears to be officially out of the race. Looks like all the pit stops have been completed. Here they come off pit road. It looked like Landis may have gotten an extra wave around on this. We'll have to see what the scoring shows here in a moment. As of right now, we are scoring. Terry Landis is the leader. Andy Patton leading for the first time tonight. John Tobias in second, Ed Harris third, Tim Chapman fourth, Armando in fifth. And it looks like Terry may be coming to pit road. Yep, Landis is going to duck into pit road. Lights are out on the pace car. Everybody stacked up, ready to go. Andy Patton will be in control on the restart. John Tobias, we see week in and week out, he likes running that high line. He is up there on the outside with Tim Chapman right behind to give him a hand. The pace car dives to pit road. Terry Landis is stopped at the exit of pit road to correct the extra wave around. As here we go. The green flag flies once again at Talladega. Terry Landis is rolling. John Tobias slips down to the bottom, as does Ed Harris. Now we've got Tim Chapman up to the top. Looks like Stu Wright going to be there to give him a hand. Oh, John Rayner got a little squirrely coming out of two. Stu Wright up, way up top by himself. No help. They're three wide into 3 and 4. Andy Patton still has the lead, but that outside line, led by Tim Chapman, is starting to come, and now a third line. Ouch. Looked like Ed Harris bumped the wall. He did it again. Everybody checks up and manages to avoid him. That could have been catastrophic. But now the question is, does Ed Harris have any significant damage? Does not appear to be any damage to the truck. Definitely seems to be able to maintain pace in the draft, at least for the moment. Oh, Ed gets pushed up the track. Looked like Rayner didn't realize he was going 3 wide. Remember, drafting at Talladega is a 200-mile-an-hour chess game. Riding along with Mayor Bixler, you see how that chess game is played. Oh, big wreck. Rayner is around. Caution is out. Pops Cramner, John Rayner, both involved. see what caused it. You're looking at Pops right behind Rayner down the back straightaway. Oh, they were bumped. That is just a bump draft gone wrong. Ouch. Pops has a big hit. And let's take a look at Rayner's ride from the blimp. Oh, yep, he gets a big bump, and Pops tried to come down to stay on his bumper. They were trying to work together. Rayner keeps his foot on the brake, barely kisses the wall, and gets going again. They are just a couple of laps shy of being able to go the distance on fuel. Looks like Andy's going to bring the field in. Tim Chapman's going to stay out. Ed Harris stays out. Looks like Mayor Bixler also going to stay out, as well as Pops Cramner. And everybody else is on pit road. This would definitely be the time to take tires if they need to. But it looks like most of them fuel only. I believe Armando took right side tires. Cale Bixler, Bob Curtis, and Terry Landis all took 4 in fuel. Tim Chapman and Ed Harris now have the front row. Pops Cramner, Mayor Bixler on the second. John Tobias, Andy Patton on the third. Joe Gauthier and Stu Wright on the fourth. John Rayner and Armando Melgoza round out the top 10. Roger Craig in 11th. Cale Bixler in 12th. Bob Curtis in 13th. And Terry Landis in 14th. But he is now back with the lead pack and back on the lead lap. So Terry Landis still has a shot at pulling off the sweep here tonight. Pace car is in. Here they come down the front stretch. And the green flag flies, and Chapman is away like a bullet. They're 3 wide right behind him, settling into 2 wide. Pops Cramner up top. Help is on the way. Meanwhile, Mayor Bixler on the bottom, giving the push to Tim Chapman. Terry Landis already starting to make some ground up. He is up into 11th, right behind Bob Curtis. And they're 3 wide once again. This is the most 3 wide racing we have seen in a while. John Rayner stuck in the middle, appears to be losing some ground here. Rayner tries to move up to the high line. He gets close. He gets there. Wow, that was close. 15 laps to go. Everybody is jockeying for every position they can get as Pops Cramner now has the lead. Bob Curtis was down below the yellow for a moment, not sure what happened. Meanwhile, Terry Landis now back up into 10th. But Pops Cramner has the lead, but it's a 3-wide battle for the lead. Tim Chapman gives Pops a push, gets him clear of the battle for the moment. Rayner sees an opening on the bottom. John Tobias all alone in the middle. Still 3 wide up the middle. John Tobias now has help from Roger Craig. That middle line seems to have a little bit more momentum than that high line, at least for the moment. Down the front straightaway, and Tobias has the nose ahead at the line. Close call right there with him. Chapman comes up just a little bit. Hold your line, boys. Hold your line. Here comes Melgoza up the middle. Whoa, Chapman drops out. Chapman trying to get back up on track, finally does, right behind Rayner. Ed Harris now has the lead, but Tobias up top with help. And looks like John Tobias may lead this time by. He does. John Tobias has it at the line. 12 to go. Tobias goes to the bottom. Caution is out. Well, that got spicy. Looked like Tim Chapman, Roger Craig both involved. Let's see if we can see what happened. Tim Chapman on the bottom. Remember, he had just merged up. Gets caught up in the mess behind. Looking down from the blimp, keep the eye on the 747 of Roger Craig up top. Tobias comes down, Craig tries to come down, but no opening. Comes up, collects Chapman broadside. Mayor Bixler has come to pit road on his way back out. I do believe everybody that was in last time with pace lap should be good to go on fuel unless we end up with a green-white checker. But if they come in to top off under this caution, that could be enough fuel to go the distance with at least one. Pomps is coming in. Ed Harris, Armando, Terry Landis, John Rayner, Bob Curtis, Roger Craig, and Tim Chapman all coming in. Oh, looked like Landis may have overshot. Now, will they change tires here? No, it's fuel only. Looks like the same for everybody. Looks like fuel only. A few of them, Bob Curtis and Roger Craig, both took tires. The vast majority, it was fuel only. It'll be just under 10 laps to go here at Talladega as the lights go out and they stack up for the restart. The pace car dives in. And here we go. Green flag is in the air. John Tobias got off perfectly. 9 laps to go. And Tobias, that jump on the start, gave the opportunity for Andy Patton to close up on him. Cale Bixler right behind. As the outside line starts to make some move for the first time. Oh! Stu Wright was leading that outside line. Now we've got a wreck in turn 3. The caution is out. And several caught up in it. Pops Cramner, Armando Melgoza, John Tobias, all catching a piece of it. All right, looking down from the blimp, Stu Wright had that outside line moving. Looks like a bad bump since Stu up top. Pops tries to come down to the bottom line, gets into Tobias, sends him up into the wall. Most of the field able to sneak by. However, during the wreck avoidance, Armando gets another hit. Armando bounces off, tries to come back down, ends up 3 wide with Tim and goes around. And ouch, a couple more catch it. Nobody double checking that, but I don't believe John Tobias, the only driver to come to pit road. Joe Gauthier out front for the first time tonight next to Andy Patton. Terry Landis still lurking back in 10th. Remember, he has the shot to pull off the sweep here tonight. Landis has a lot of ground to cover and a lot of fast trucks in front of him if he wants to sweep tonight. Joe Gauthier, his first time up front tonight. You know he's going to want to hold on to it. I can tell you, being up there with 6 laps to go and being at the front of the line, not a very comfortable place. He's going to be driving in the mirror for the next 6 laps. All right, here they come out of turn 4. Pace car dives to pit road. Joe will be in control once they get to the restart zone. They're in the zone. He fires green flag back in the air. Joe's going to clear and bring Stu with him on the bottom. We saw it on that last restart. If the outside line gets together quickly enough, they could blast by up top. Stu is looking to the top. He's going to go up alone. Now he's got help. The outside line really growing. Stu Wright now to the lead up top. Oh, they're wrecking behind. Caution. And it's about to get even wilder. Let's see what happened. Looking down from the blimp. Roger Craig gets a run. Terry Landis gets a bit. Oh, Craig gets bumped below the track or below the yellow. Tries to come back up and goes for a ride. And quite a ride that was. But he does stick the landing. Looking at this, but looking at the cars up top, there was some contact. Oh, Tobias comes across Landis's nose, and they end up in the wall. Now, Stu Wright still in control. Should be getting 1 to green this time by. They will restart with 3 laps to go. The restart is going to be crucial. Lights are out as they get ready to go back to green. Stu Wright, Ed Harris have the outside, or have the front row. Joe Gauthier and Andy Patton on the second. John Rayner, Cale Bixler on the third. Tim Chapman, Mayor Bixler, Terry Landis, and Bob Curtis round out the top 10. Armando back in 11th next to Pops Cramner, Roger Craig, and John Tobias. This will be interesting to see. Tobias has been up front pretty much all night. Now he's got to come from the back. We've seen a lot more three-wide racing tonight than we usually do. I expect to see a little bit more here in a minute. All right, here we go. Pace car is back in. Through the trioval toward the restart zone. Here they come. Green flag is back in the air. 3 laps to go. Stu gets a big jump and maybe too much. You get too far ahead, and as they come up to speed in the draft, they can and often will come flying by. Ed Harris leading that outside line as they come out of turn 2. Ed has a really big run. He brings Joe with him. Here comes Chapman. They drop down to the bottom. Stu drifts back to third. Stu's going to try and come up the track, but stayed low. Caution is back out. And we will go to a green-white checkered finish. Looks like Roger Craig, Terry Landis, and Armando Melgoza all involved. Let's see what happened back behind. Looking down from the blimp, and you can see they're trying to get 3 wide back behind. They do end up 3 wide, off into 3. One car pushes up into Landis, and that sets it off. Taking a different angle at this one. There's Landis up on the high side. Now another car ends up outside. Tobias pushes up. Landis gets into Melgoza. And that was a big chain reaction. It's Talladega. You know when you get to the late laps, some craziness is going to happen. They went 4 wide. It didn't work. I don't expect anybody to come to pit road. Looks like everybody has stayed out. Lights go out on the pace car. Ed Harris now in control. Joe Gauthier on the high side. Stu Wright right behind Ed. John Rayner also up in the fight. We have definitely seen some wild finishes from this group at Daytona and Talladega. With 2 laps to go, I'd imagine we will again. Stu Wright, currently in third, actually is the biggest mover of the race. Started dead last in 15th, now up to third. If he can pull off the win here tonight, it'd be an impressive run going from the very back to victory lane here tonight. Pace car dives to pit road. Ed Harris on the inside, in control. And the green flag flies, 2 laps to go at Talladega. And 3 wide already. Stu Wright squeezes in underneath into 1 and 2. Ed Harris tried to get back to the bottom, but the door is shut. Whoa, some big bumping back behind. We may not be done wrecking there. 4 wide up front. One truck had to go to the apron to get out of it. Now Ed Harris has the lead back with the push from Joe Gauthier. They are banging doors back behind 3 wide. Here they come, and whoa, Bob Curtis is in the grass. The white flag flies one more time around. Ed Harris has the lead. A lot of bumping going on back behind. It is still anybody's race. Anybody in this lead pack can still pull it off. Pops Cramner in the middle, 3 wide down the backstretch. Joe Gauthier pushing the leader, the outside line, led by John Tobias, starting to move. Oh, Tobias gets turned mid-pack. Several trucks caught up. Ed Harris leads them down the front straightaway, and Ed Harris is going to victory lane at Talladega. Joe Gauthier holds on to finish second, and Tim Chapman comes home in third. Hobbs Cramner in fourth, Bob Curtis in fifth. And unfortunately, Terry Landis cannot pull off the sweep here tonight. But what a run by Ed Harris. We'll talk to your top 3 in just a moment, but folks, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, C12 Motorsports Gen 4 Series will be back on track. Thursday night, Home Motorsports will take to the track at 7:30. And a lot of great stuff coming as well in the coming weeks. All 3 drivers, top 3, lined up on the start-finish line. Great run by all 3. Great run by everybody in the field tonight. A bit of a wild one, but we saw a lot of great 3 and occasionally 4 wide racing. All right, let's see if we can get a word with our top 3. And it looks like our winners... Wait a minute. All right, let's start with second place. I'm waiting to see if Tim pops in suddenly. Let's see if we can get a word with second place, Joe Gauthier. Joe,
Green poncho.
Joe, that was a wild and eventful race.
Thank you, Doug. That was exciting, wasn't it?
It definitely was, man. A heck of a show, and I know you got caught up a little bit early on, but once you got back to the front, you were just kind of always there in the top 5.
Yes, sir. And I was doing it for Dale, man, to take care of my buddy Ed.
Well, man, it was a great job and a big push to get Ed to victory lane tonight. Great run.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
First, I'd like to thank the Lord above, and then Mass Avengers Racing, Coast to Coast, and Retreads, and you, Doug Birds, for putting this on and hosting it, or commentating it, man. God bless you.
Thank you, buddy. Great job tonight.
Thank you again, buddy.
All right, Tim Chapman comes home in third. Tim, you might have had one of the wildest rides of all tonight. Tim, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. You hear me?
Yeah, I got you now, buddy. You, I think, had one of the wildest rides tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't know. I think it went pretty well, though. I just, tried to bide my time there and got lucky at the end, I guess.
I would have to disagree. We usually see you up in the top 5 late in these races, so it's not luck for sure.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. But, yeah, I'd like the restrictor plate races. It's a lot of fun.
Well, man, you definitely have got something figured out. Another great finish. Congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank the Masked Avenger for putting this on, and, everybody at C2C who puts this on, and, of course, you for doing the broadcast.
Well, a great job tonight. Great podium. Congratulations.
All right, Doug, thanks.
And finally, our winner, Ed Harris. Well, Ed, your first time, at least in my experience, in victory lane with this group, and man, you definitely worked for it tonight.
Yeah, you're right, Doug. That was a lot of work to get to the right end of it.
I know you got caught up once in the middle of the race and really went quite a ways, almost to the back, but managed to fight your way back toward the front relatively quickly, and then you were just up there in the top 5 the whole time.
Yeah, I really like this truck, and this track really fits my driving style. It's a lot of fun to race this one.
Well, man, it was a great job and a really surprising win, because on that last restart, when you started up front, I thought you were doomed.
That kind of makes 2 of us, Doug, because I screwed that restart up. I got to the middle and gave Stu the bottom, and we were 3 wide there going into 1. But on the top here, you can build up some momentum, get the run on the outside. That worked out good.
It definitely worked out. You held on, came back, and pulled it off, man. Congratulations. That was a great win. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, we got to thank the Masked Avenger for sponsoring this and letting us come out and play on Tuesday nights. It's always a lot of fun to race with these guys.
Well, a great job tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Doug.
And Ed Harris pulls off the win at Talladega, folks. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, C12 Motorsports Gen 4 Series is back on track, and that has been non-stop excitement. We will see you tomorrow night. Have a good one, everybody.